This item is one of the most abundant things on earth. It did occur in history that it was of great value, and actually in ancient Rome, soldiers were paid with this instead of money. It's found in seawater, it's a crystal mineral, and we use it to season and preserve food. Let's talk about salt. So how do we get salt? Actually, regular salt, simple salt, is taken out of seawater. Seawater is taken out into large, shallow pools, and it's left there to evaporate, and the sun's heat evaporates all the water, and what we're left with is common salt. This common salt then is taken and washed in brine, and after that we can either have it as is or have it processed. Now, salt which we get in the grocery store is processed, and several minerals are taken out of it, like magnesium and calcium, and some others may be added, like iodine. Seawater is not processed, and it's neither added anything to it or subtracted. But how many types of salts are there, and is there really a difference between the different salts, and is there any which is better for us? Let's take a closer look at what we've got here. Now, there are several salts that you can find in the market. This here is regular salt, where, you know, it's what we find in the grocery store. This salt has been refined, it has been processed, so most probably it's the magnesium and the potassium have been taken out, iodine may have been added to it, and this is what usually people get, you know, for seasoning the food. But there are some other salts that we can find. A very known one in recent times is the pink Himalayan salt, which is basically one of the main places that we find it, and that's where it gets its name from, is in Pakistan at the base of the Himalayas. Now, why is this salt so famous? Or there are, you know, sayings that it is more beneficial, etc. The truth of the matter is that, first of all, it gets its pink color from some minerals that it has. Actually, 97% of salt is sodium chloride, sodium and chloride. There is a left 2 to 3% which is not sodium chloride. In the Himalayan, the pink Himalayan salt, this 2% is another 83 or 84 other minerals. Now, this may sound a lot, but to the amount of salt that we eat, it really makes a very, very small impact. 2% of the salt, and salt is not really something that we put in big amounts in our food. Now, if you feel comfortable using the salt, then that's absolutely fine, but it's the much ado about it is not really justified compared to its content. You may be liking the color or the texture. It is a little bit more coarse. It may even come in the form of crystals, and that's fine. Other than that, that's okay. We also have kosher salt, which I don't have here at this moment, but it's regular white salt. You can use that as well. A lot of chefs prefer it. Nothing has been added to it, but mind you that kosher salt is lighter than regular salt. So if you're using it in a recipe where you need to weigh, keep in mind that it is lighter, so you have to change your analogies. Now this here is a very special salt. This is what we call the Fleur de sel, or the flower of salt. And this is really precious, and it is rightfully more expensive, if not the most expensive salt that you can find. The Fleur de sel is called the flower of the salt because it's at the upper layers of the salt. First, it's picked by hand, and second, it's 94 to 97% sodium chloride, and it contains other minerals as well. Now, what really is very distinct about this salt is the high percentage of its humidity. And you can see here, if I use the tablespoon to pick up some salt, how the salt sticks to the spoon because of its humidity. Or you can see here at the jar how it's stuck to the walls of the jar. It is very pure, nothing is added or subtracted from it. It has a wonderful taste, and it's a little bit saltier than regular salt. And that's fine. If you get to use it, then you would know that it's going to be a little bit saltier than the rest. The wonderful thing about it is that it has an aroma, really. I mean, if you smell it, if you smell this jar that I'm holding, it smells sea. So you know it's coming from nature. And it is one of the favorites for people who like to cook. Its texture is very unique. It's crystals, and it's very, very shiny. So if you find this salt, take it. It's definitely worth it. So let's talk a little bit about salt and how we're using it in our nutrition, how beneficial it is, and how necessary is it in our food. Well, the human body can't really live without sodium. And salt is the major source of it. And sodium is important because it's needed to transmit nerve impulses. It's needed to contract and relax muscles, including the heart muscle. It's needed to maintain the proper fluid balance in the body. And it doesn't take much to do that. The blood vessels need it because they also need to contract and relax. Salt is made from sodium and chloride. It's 97 sodium chloride, and there's no other nutrients in it. It's a mineral. There may be a couple of other minerals in minute amounts, but it's a mineral. Plus, it does not contain calories. Now, salt absorbs water, and this is the issue with the blood pressure. If we eat too much salt and there's a lot of salt in the blood vessels, this would attract a lot of fluid, thus increasing the pressure in the blood vessels. So increasing blood pressure a little bit. So for people who have an issue with blood pressure and heart problems, it is recommended that they decrease the amount of salt in their food. And this is where this was the reason that I decided to make this video on salt. Because if you are a person who needs to restrict salt in their diet, distribute salt wisely. If I'm allowed to have less of it in my diet, then I should make use of how I'm going to use it and the quality of the salt that I'm going to be using. I see a lot of people who have problems with high blood pressure, and they would come in and I would see their diet regimen, and it's perfect. The numbers add up wonderfully. But for some reason, they have no appetite. And what is happening is that they've put themselves into this monotonous routine diet without taste, which at the end of the day blocks the appetite. It really does not trigger the appetite. And you don't want to go down that path, because appetite is extremely important for health, for the way we eat, for digestion, for absorption, and for metabolism in general. So, first of all, if you are restricted in salt, stay away as much as you can from processed foods. Not because processed foods do contain salt, they do, but you're wasting the salt that you are allowed to take on that. There are many processed foods that contain a lot of salt, and when you eat them, you don't realize that they contain that much salt. So the best thing to do is to get away from that. Use natural foods, cook your own food, try to go to as much as less processed foods so that you can control the salt you're using. Now, there are a lot of substitutes for salt. You can use seasonings that are salt-free, you can use herbs, you can even use lemon. In a lot of dishes, if you add a little bit more lemon, it would outbalance the lack of salt. So the salt that you are allowed to eat, let it be good. Let it be good. Salt is not just something that we sprinkle in the food, because we know it has the power the minute we add it to the food, how it uplifts all the other tastes from all the other food items. But enjoy it solo as well. So first of all, if you're going to be using salt, use the best that you can. So if you can get your hands on some flour of the salt, the Fleur de Salt, then please use that. You're free to use any salt that you want, but I would suggest that you find it and you get this one. Now, you need things to uplift your appetite. So you can have a whole meal which is salt-free. You can cut some meat, and then you can have some boiled or steamed vegetables without salt. You can add some oil or lemon on it. But before you start your meal, how about a nice salty bite that would trigger those salivary glands so that your saliva would start being excreted, and that would open your appetite. One suggestion that I can suggest for you right here is, for example, it only takes just a bite of bread, a freshly baked bread, and that's important. So you either bake it at home or you buy it, warm it, let that nice smell of the bread be there. You dip it in extra virgin olive oil. Don't be scared, okay? And just put just a few crystals of salt on it. Just a few crystals. This may be even too much. Just a few crystals. Oh boy. You cannot imagine. You cannot imagine how salt and olive oil go together so well. It's like a burst in my mouth. And it's just salt and olive oil. Use this bite as an appetizer. Just enjoy it as a bite. I'm not allowed to eat this much salt, but the salt I'm allowed to eat, I'm going to make the best out of it. And this is one way to do it. So this would be a great example. So make use of it, and don't hesitate to find ways in which you can use salt in a better way to enhance your appetite. That is extremely important. So this is it for salt, and you can also find in the market other types of salt where different flavors are added. like maybe celery salt or garlic salt, which you can add to the food. Whatever it is, remember that the closer we are to nature, the healthier we are. Now, if you like this video or if you like the content of the videos, please subscribe. Click on the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time there's a new video coming up. And please join our Facebook group. You can also see photos of the food items that are being presented, a closer look in our social media. Thank you. See you next time.